You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Welcome back to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and man, time is flying by. I mean, can you believe it? Almost a full month already in 2026, and life is not slowing down. It's going to keep going faster. Just think about it. You blink your eyes 3 times, you'll be 35. So once again, we are here with a special guest, Wes Towers, all the way in Australia. He is up bright and early for this show. So he's the MVP for this segment. First and foremost, Wes Towers is the guy that we're going to be talking to. He is going to give us a lot of great insight. He is someone that knows a lot about business, a lot about websites, SEO. He knows a lot of things about AI shifting the world, but we're going to learn everything about what he's doing right here and right now. So first and foremost, Wes, thank you for your time. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, really well, thank you. And it's a real privilege to be on the show. It's almost surreal. I've been listening to so much of your material and watching and so on, and to have the opportunity to speak to you in person, I'm really thankful for that opportunity. And connecting from Australia, here it's Saturday, so we're just a little ahead of you. It's early in the morning, but I like getting up early to do things like this.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. I can feel the energy already, so I know this is going to be a slamming episode. We're going to be doing a lot of slam dunks on this episode. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for clearing your schedule to be here with us. Once again, for our viewers and listeners, go to his website, and that website is uplift360.com.au, and let's get right back to business. When you think about what you're doing with Uplift 360, share with our viewers and audience, what is all that about, and what was the process like having it come together?
Yeah, well, so Uplift 360, we're a digital agency, so we do websites and SEO, like optimization for websites for the trades and construction industry. But it's been a wild roller coaster ride business. I mean, I started naively. I had no idea how to run a business. I was just so nervous even meeting with clients and so on, and had to figure it out the hard way, just trial and error and refocusing, finding out what the next thing was and pivoting and making mistakes and learning. And that's what life's all about. It's exciting, and it's terrifying and exciting. And it really is like a roller coaster ride. So I'm enjoying it. But yeah, there's been a few challenges and obstacles like we all face. And it's part of the privilege of life to overcome the challenges.
And that's the key right there. No matter what you do in life, if it's something valuable, I guarantee you a challenge is on its way. It's probably speeding towards you. And here I come, whether ready or not, here we go. When you think about that, you consider that there are always going to be challenges that are going to be coming away. It don't matter. Even after this show, you might be winning, but the next day you might have a challenge that you have to face in the office. What's some of the biggest lessons that you learned so far being an entrepreneur, understanding that even though you provide great service, sometimes there can be some bumps in the road?
Yeah, some of the biggest lessons, we're obviously quite a technical business, so to figure out how to communicate in a way that's non-technical for people who don't aren't part of our world, and nor they should they understand everything we do from a technical perspective, but to understand from a human perspective what their end customer is trying to achieve and relating to them practically and speaking to them and understanding them to a deeper level. We're in this crazy age of AI and technology, and things are rapidly evolving in our industry, but it can create overwhelm, a sense of overwhelm, and people don't know what to do to market their businesses. And we really need to understand the people at a higher level. Even for my business, we got a business valuation done probably about 4 years ago now, 3-4 years ago. And it came in a whole lot lower than anticipated, purely because the valuer said, people don't buy uncertainty. And he said, whilst your business is stable and secure and it's doing really well, it's been around over 20 years, the rise of AI was a massive threat to my whole industry, he suggested. So therefore, it's really difficult to sell a business that isn't really, really stable. People want a level of security if they're going to part with a bunch of money. And so they're totally outside my control. But it really was a wake-up call to think about, okay, what do I need to change in order to be prepared for wherever the industry does go as AI starts to transform the way in which we work. It'll change a lot of businesses and career paths and so on. But for us, being digital, we're online, as is one of the first to start evolving. So it's been a really wild ride just these last few years, reworking how we get stuff done, so our procedures and so on, but also doubling down on the things that we truly value as a business and brand, and making sure we don't lose ourselves in the tech.
Once again, that's I Am Refocused Radio, and watching us online, talking to our guest today, Wes Towers. You can go to his website, uplift360.com.au. Once again, you really need to go support what he's doing, because he sacrificed his time to be up here super early in the morning just to do this segment. So I once again want to say thank you for doing that and being willing to do that for our audience. Let's talk about some AI, because AI is not going anywhere. It is exciting, and sometimes, dare I say, people online keep calling it AI slop. But they have a point. Let's get into that, because there is almost two different worlds out there right now. There are people who are crushing it right now and using AI to organize and to help edit their original writings or different ideas to sharpen and polish those ideas. But then you have the world of AI slop, where it's just people are cringing because they want a real human being to talk to. They want a real human experience, if you will. With what you do with your agency and using the tools that are available with AI, how have you been able to keep a balance to make sure it's not becoming AI slop, but actually just helping your business be sharper?
Yeah, well, it's so easy to lean upon the tools and have them do all the heavy lifting and the work for you. And that's the wrong way to look at it, because if you do that, that's when the slop occurs. It's just, if you just rely on, say, ChatGPT to write some content for your website, for example, or your social media, and just punch in and request some content. All it can do is pull in content that's been published everywhere else and just collating it into something perceived to be new, but it's not really new. It's just generic, bland. It's not necessarily what your truly your message is. So the first thing you've got to do to combat the slop is to really get specific on who you serve, what your core messages are, what you want to bring to the world, what you want to be known for. I like to think about it as what do you want to be famous for? If you could be famous in your industry and field, really understand those core things, and then from that position of really knowing who you are and what you want to represent and what you want to stand for, what you want to be known for, the message can be enhanced with AI. So, for example, one of the ways I use it is if I have an idea or a spark of creative thought where I want to write a blog post, for example, I might be in my car, I start talking to my ChatGPT as a conversation. It's brilliant for this. And I just start speaking out my ideas for the content that I want to write. And so it's helping me collate it into a logical sequence of thoughts, as opposed to it giving me the thoughts. I'm giving it the thoughts. But it's helping me refine it into a way in which other people might understand it. So by the time, if I'm doing it in the car, by the time I'm driving to wherever I'm going, I've really distilled down precisely what I want to share and say, and there's almost an article written. And so I take that, obviously edit it, make sure it's in my tone and language and so on. And it will be, because it's picked that up from just speaking to me. But to a large degree, it'll be almost finished, but of course you need to check over it. I feel like there's people out there not even checking what they're publishing under their own name. And that's a terrifying space to be in the world, where computers are doing the talking for us and we don't know what they're saying on our behalf. And that's why there's just so much noise out there. I mean, that's written content, but video content. Like, it's exciting. It's cool to see videos of long past people that look super realistic. It's kind of fun, but it's also terrifying in that we don't really know that we can believe what our eyes see or what we hear or what we're reading. We just don't know if there's truth behind it, authenticity. So we've got to find, as marketers, because that's what we do, find ways in which we can communicate truth and authenticity and value.
When you look at what is available online. As far as there's tons of companies out there that quote unquote help people with marketing their brand or business, and you can have AI just do all the heavy lifting for you. And to your point, at some part down the street, down the road, you have to slow down and say, is this actually connecting with my potential client? Is this actually giving them confidence to want to work with me? Like, anybody can create a artificial Lamborghini now. Heck, you can run a prompt and you can put yourself inside any dream car you want. But we know it's not true. So, touch on that for our viewers.
Well, I think part of it is to show your humanity. And as businesses, most of the businesses we work with are founder-led businesses. So the business is a reflection of the person who started the business, their values, their convictions. So if we can leverage that personal brand, that of the founder, that's a really big distinct advantage, because all of a sudden the business is humanized. There's actual people involved. And that one thing we know about humans is we aren't perfect and we're flawed, and we've got little nuances about us, and they're not necessarily bad. Historically, we've tried to cover up all our flaws, and that makes sense. But I really feel as though moving forward, those businesses that are brave enough to expose some of their flaws, I think they're going to be the real winners, because all of a sudden we trust them. We know that they're true to what they say, because we can quickly identify. I mean, an AI bot of me speaking, it might be more refined. It won't say I'm an R. It won't, if I've got some pimples right now, it won't on the AI version of me. It'll be the perfect version of me, supposedly. But there's a disconnect, because we know it's not really me. There's no true value in it. It's kind of like art, I think. Yeah. I mean, if there's a painting, and it might be a really beautiful painting, and it's believed to be of a certain artist, it has a huge amount of value because the artist's brush touched that canvas, and there's story behind it, and there's history, and there's true value in it. But as soon as we realize it's a fake, the value is not there. Now, the painting is just as beautiful as it always was, but the value is diminished to nothing, because we know it's fraudulent, it's not real, it's not authentic. I really believe that is how businesses are going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of value in the artisan, the person who created things with their own hands, things that are not mass manufactured. I think there's going to be more and more value on that human element. I hope so.
I think I definitely agree with what you're saying, because it's like, for example, you can have an artist that paints all the work originally, and then maybe they use AI to help write their newsletter, or maybe they use AI to help write a blog post. That is totally different than someone who just make 400 paintings from AI. I mean, maybe they're trying to get to the crowd, that's fine, but most people who appreciate, like you said, that hand painting, they're going to be like, oh, wow, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's the element of the scarcity. When there are things AI created, we all know that it's can be mass-produced at scale really fast, so that value is eroded. I think we've all got to be careful about eroding the value in our companies and our messaging as well.
It's like, do you want your grandma's homemade pie, or you want the AI robot's pie? Which one you want? Yeah. I think I'm going to take grandma's homemade pie, man. I don't know about y'all out there, but leads us to this next question, man. When you think about business positioning themselves, and understanding that, of course, AI is not going to be everything, but it might be part of polishing. But when you think about positioning for leads, we are also in the phase where there are places out there that promise you AI can get you all these massive leads, right? It's about a number system, right? How many leads can I get today? Well, what would you say to the audience out here right now? Hey, maybe we should slow down on that idea and maybe better position ourselves to attract more quality leads.
Yeah, that's certainly the way we're looking at it. We've done search engine optimization. Those that are in business have probably stumbled across that as a strategy to grow a business. So it was an attempt to show up on Google typically, or the other search engines as well, but mostly Google. And so you had a keyword. So something people would search for, say, plumber, Melbourne. We're in Melbourne. So the service and the location, typically that's how we searched. But now we're searching in whole sentences, and we're getting the answer on the platform itself, Google, the Google AI overview. So no longer do people need to click through to your website. So we were able to measure historically the click. So people click, you showed up on Google, people clicked, you would track how many clicks, you would track how much of that converted into business being done. You could easily show the return on the investment. But now they're getting the answer on Google itself. Your brand might be getting mentioned, but we can't track that as a click. There's no mechanism to track it. So we can't therefore know where the closed business has been created from. So it's hard for us to measure. But the way we're looking at it is, whilst there's less traffic coming to your website, less people visiting your website, it's still drawing the ideas from your website into the large language model. So we're just trying to position our customers, our clients, so that they're the authorities in the space they play in. And that's why niching, I know some people say niche we say, being really known in a core area of service, I think is the way to stand out remarkably well, because you get to be really expertise in one certain area. And that's what we've done we're working with mostly trades and construction businesses. So we really understand them at a deep level. So all of a sudden, positioning companies and brands so that they attract the right people, I think that's the way of the future. You spoke of leads. We used to create lead magnets. So a lead magnet was some sort of offer where you would download a free resource, a book, ebook, or a video, something of perceived value for free, but it wasn't really free. You had to give your name and your email or your phone number. You had to fill in a form to get this free thing. So it's not really free. You're paying with your privacy. You're giving away part of your privacy. And because people have placed more value on their privacy because of all the things that go wrong when you give this stuff away, even, you might end up with a whole bunch of spam in your inbox. There's a greater level of protection of our privacy, but also we don't need the free resource anymore because we get the answer on ChatGPT or whatever we prefer to use. So it's a different way of looking at it. Those lead magnets, we used to call them, the free resource, don't work as well as just publishing the information people need so it can be drawn upon and be perceived as the expert in the field in which they work.
Once again, listen, I Refocused Radio, watching us online. I'm talking to our guest today, Wes Towers. Go to his website, uplift360.com.au. My next question I want to explore for you is over 20 years in business. It's a long time, a lot of sweat and tears, but somehow, some way, I'm sure people learn from that. Those are 20 years of every year, put in the reps, understand what's working, understand what's not working, understanding what you can do, understanding probably what you won't do because of what you learned from yesterday. Where do you see those lessons giving you that motivation to continue the consistency of not just showing up, but to really show up for your team, show up for the client, and obviously for yourself?
Yeah, well, there's just so many good times and hard times as well in business and in life, but it feels as though if you start a business, it just amplifies all of that to greater levels. So there's really, really great times and really tough times. But if you're working in an area of passion, it gives you enough energy and stimulus to work through the difficult times, because the end goal is rewarding enough and you've got a passion for what you're doing. If you're not super excited by what your business is, then it's really going to be difficult to last any more than a few years. The first few years, I think, are always the hardest. It certainly was for me, simply because a few things, but the main reason was I didn't know how to do business. I had a great skill set. I knew how to make websites. I knew how to do marketing, those sorts of things. But I didn't know how to do proposals. I didn't know how to do client meetings. I didn't know how to run books. I didn't know how to hire team members. All these things I just had to figure out. And so probably the best thing I did early on was join some networking groups. So be in rooms with business leaders who had experience, and you start to model on their success and figure out what they're doing and how do they talk about their business, how do they present, what are they saying, who are they connecting with. You learn these things just by being with the right types of people. So I think joining groups, higher priced groups, are better than the free ones, because the free ones are a whole bunch of people that are not necessarily going to lead you to greater things. But once you're parting way with some money for it to be in a room full of people, then you're networking with a higher caliber of people typically. And so there's so much learning that happens just by being with those sorts of people. So yeah, stick with it. Get a passion area in your business so you ride out the hard times. Get around the right people. Build a solid network, people who can support you, even by modelling to you what to do in those situations.
And people, for those who are watching and listening to us, also do your homework too. I always got to make disclaimers on radio. Do your homework. Don't just, this person says I should do this class, so let me do this class. Like, make sure you do your homework. Make sure you're careful out there, because investments are investments. Sometimes they're good and sometimes they're not as great as we thought they were. But with that said, if you can kind of touch on that for those maybe they're in San Antonio, not just Australia, but maybe someone listening in San Antonio or somewhere, anywhere in the world. What advice would you give them when they start to think about, okay, where can I invest to better myself in these different resources that are obviously way better than a free version? So it's going to be different from person to person, business to business. And to your point, I mean, I'm just a guy on the internet. Don't believe anything that I say, but let it inspire and spark thoughts and ideas that you go and research and pursue and see what works for you. I mean, I've listened to so many mentors. I've got, great mentors in my life, and different ones have come and gone through the journey. And I haven't just applied everything that they've said. I've listened to them and I thought, okay, why did that work for them in their circumstance? Will it work for me? Likely, unlikely. Make decisions on the back of that. And that's a part of leadership in business, And as you grow a team, there's so many ideas that come around you with different people. And so, but you that at the end of the day have to live or die by that decision. So you better think it through thoughtfully. So I always like to think about it when I select what I get involved in, is to think about joining things that are just where people are just a little level ahead of where I am. So because you become like the people that you hang around with. And so it's good to have great friends in your world who are also able to stimulate you and help you grow. But to get to the next level, I think if you can be accepted to join other things that will accelerate you further, I think they're worth their weight in gold. That's good. I appreciate you putting that there. And once again, listen, I am Refocused Radio, watching us online. Go to our guest, his website. Wes' website is uplift360.com.au. Before we close officially, when you think about the opportunities that's coming with artificial intelligence, when you think about what is exciting, is there any tools? I know we've been plugging ChatGPT, but are there any tools that you currently are looking at and you're thinking, this seems like I might end up using this sooner or later?
Oh man, there's so many different tools that are bobbing up, and the difficulty is to decide which ones you're going to go with, because there's just so many options. And so part of the challenge is trying to predict, because they're in the early days.
Yeah.
So trying to predict the ones in which will further grow and improve and enhance and know that they're going to be there for the long term. It's kind of difficult but exciting. We've changed a whole lot. We're using a whole lot of smaller tools within building websites even. So when you build a website, there's plugins. So there's AI-driven plugins that we're using. But we're not wedded to those. There might be better opportunities down the line. We're just using what we feel are the best right now. So, but to speak to the opportunities holistically, I think there's a real opportunity for people with an entrepreneurial spirit and some sort of vision to start businesses with hardly any money downlaid, just time and effort and your thoughts and ideas. If you've got a creative idea, it's easier to create what you need to create than ever before. I mean, if you've got an idea for an app, for example, there's things like vibe coding. So that's when you speak in natural language, you type words and it codes and creates apps. So these sorts of things where apps used to cost a fortune to build. And so if you didn't have much money behind you in savings, you couldn't create these businesses. But now if you've got a spark of creativity and an idea, a business like that might flourish. It's about the creativity, and the thought and the idea, not the technical aspect of building the thing. So I think the opportunities are endless. That's the positive. The downside is if you're not creative and you're not forward looking, careers are going to be wiped out, unfortunately. So all of us need to think about what's the trajectory of our industry and our career path, and how do we position ourselves for the next thing, so we're ready for that, and we can do really well if we're thinking through those ideas.
Well, once again, listen, I'm Refocused Radio, watching us online, talking to our guest today, Wes Towers. Make sure you go check out his website, uplift360.com.au. If someone's watching, listening to this right now, and they're interested in learning more about what you're doing with your world and your business and all the great things that you all are doing with incorporating AI technology, what's some best ways that they can stay in contact with you, check out your other social profiles if you have any, and how can they keep in touch?
Yeah, so through the website, you'll find all the social media links. Even connect with me on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, I'll accept any connection requests, so that's fine. But also, I've just launched my own podcast. It's for the trades and construction industry. So anyone who's interested in that, they can find our podcast as well. You'll find it from our website, but it's Built, Trusted, Chosen is the show. Only early days, half a dozen episodes launched, I think, and really excited by that too.
Well, y'all go check it out. I mean, y'all did me a favor. Y'all checked me out back in 2017. So do me a favor, check out Wes Towers and his podcast. Plug that show again.
Built, Trusted, Chosen.
Awesome. Once again, like I always want to say to you, Wes, thank you for your time.
Thank you.